Hello, Will here with Recuperate at recuperate.com. Recuperate is Latin for recovery, and this website is all about recovery from addiction and mental illness. And in this particular blog post, I'm going to talk about making a budget, and I'm going to put it into the recovery politics category because how people in recovery spend their money can be a political issue, and especially if they're in recovery from substance abuse, but also even if they're in recovery from a mental illness, because mental illness tends to lead somebody to take advantage of social services. They may be on certain benefits or entitlements, and that how they spend their money is kind of being watched by the public eye. It probably shouldn't be, but it is. And if you do get just a little bit of money every month, it is possible to get by if you just minimize your lifestyle. If you want more out of life, if you want more in your lifestyle, like a car or a nicer apartment, and you don't want to have to live off of subsidies, then there should be an incentive to recover so that you can be able to work and not have to live off of services, which can actually strip you of your dignity. If you have a mental illness or a substance abuse issue and you are working, it is more likely for you to have more dignity and more self-respect, and that will just propel your recovery all the more. So, in terms of making a budget, what I did was I created a spreadsheet, and here it is. This is the spreadsheet. I'm using LibreOffice Calc because, as you can see, I'm using as my operating system, I'm using Linux. Um, it's free at LibreOffice.org. If you're using Linux or Macintosh, you can certainly do that. Even if you're using Windows, you can download LibreOffice for free. If you prefer to use Microsoft Excel, go right ahead and do that. It works very similarly. The reason I use a spreadsheet is because it can do a lot of calculations very quickly. As you can see, I have a lot of calculations down here. When you enter something into a cell like this, my car payment is $376. Up in this field, it shows $376, and that's just the value that's in the cell. But in the calculation, like in the total expenses, I have B11 plus E10. B11 is this cell, or it's this cell right here, and then E10 is this cell right here, and then this particular cell is the sum of the cells between E3 and E9. This is E3, this is E9, and it takes the sum of them, and for this particular set of expenses, it's $870. So I want to get to a point where I'm saving money, and in my first paycheck, I have my car payment, my car insurance. This magazine expense I'm unable to cut out because I'm obligated to it. But I also have gas, food, my phone. Excuse me. My phone, and I'm making payments on furniture. And I budgeted $10 a month for clothes. That's about $120 a year. Maybe I will, maybe I'll increase that if I need to, but I probably don't need to do that. Although I could spend $100 on a pair of shoes, so I don't know. I can always make changes to the budget as I go along, and I might do another video on how to do that, because you'll notice that I don't have any cigarettes um, in my budget, because I plan on quitting smoking by the time this budget takes effect, which is in about a week and a half on my next paycheck. But if I don't end up quitting smoking, then I'll have to do something to make better plans on quitting smoking and incorporate that into my budget. But you'll notice I have church as an expense, and it's $40 a month for the time being. That's until I can save up $2,000 to have a good cushion. Which I'm going to be getting a third paycheck in June, and on that third paycheck, all the expenses I have on that are gas and food, because the rest of the those are the only two expenses I have that are actually biweekly expenses. They're not monthly expenses. So, however, however, they can be monthly expenses, because once I get the $2,000 saved up, I will switch to a monthly budget, which is what this is over here. Um, but the church for now is $40, and I calculated that my tithe is 2% of my income, which isn't a bad amount to give to your church. I mean, it's really a good idea to tithe 10% of your income for good spiritual health, but if you can't do it, you can't do it. You really have to prioritize yourself and put yourself in a position where um, you're not. Jesus said the yoke is easy, the burden is light, and you should really keep yourself in that position. Somebody told me nobody ever said it was easy. Well, that's not true. Jesus did say it was easy, but you really do have to take up your cross and follow Him, and that as a paradox becomes easier as you go along, not harder. So, 82% of my income goes to expenses. That includes the 2% of my tithing. So um, I'm really only spending 80% on expenses minus the tithe, which is where I need to be anyway. That's a good amount to spend on expenses. You don't want to go over that. If you can spend less than that, wonderful. But you don't really want to spend over 80% of your income on your own personal expenses. I'll be saving 18% for the time being of my income. And hopefully by June, then I'll have the $2,000 saved up, and then I can go to the monthly budget. Now, the monthly budget is different because I have that cushion. I don't need to save quite as much. So, I'll only save 11% because I added some extra tithing. St. Vincent de Paul, I'm going to give 60%. Andre House, not 60%, $60. Andre House, I'm going to give $60. Andre House is a ministry that helps the poor in Phoenix. It's kind of like St. Vincent de Paul. And then my church, I'll give $90. The rest of the expenses are pretty much the same. Food, I'm spending $160. That's pretty much $80 every 2 weeks. Furniture, gas, $60. That's $30 every 2 weeks. And I can always tweak it as I go along. But what I did was I have my bank automatically deposit money into my savings account. I set that up before my next paycheck to deposit um, total save $178 into my savings account. And after that happens, I'll set it up to deposit $210 into my savings account on the following paycheck, and I'll just keep doing that every 2 weeks. Just keep setting up those transfers, and then transfer $970 on that third paycheck in June, and I should have a good amount of money saved. But this is the importance of making a budget: is that you don't overextend yourself. You have good financial stability, and like I said, it will propel you in your recovery. Because if you're financially stable, you'll feel a lot better. So I hope you, if you're watching this on YouTube, log on to the blog at recuperate.com and read the blog post, as I have more to say on making a budget and being financially stable. If you're watching this on the blog, thanks for joining me, and continue reading the blog and check out the other blog posts. This is Will with Recuperate at recuperate.com. Thanks for watching.